Hello and welcome back to the Crusades of the Purple Knight. This is level 6 and we are sitting in this corner of the Wynwood Hall in the Feywild with the sound turned off at the moment because this band of revellers in the background are making rather a racket. So I probably chose a bad place. I'll have to remember to put the sound back on. Look at this kaleidoscopic sky. So, what do we have to tell you at this level? Well, quests since the last time we finished the rest of the Gatekeepers chain in the Cerulean Hills, and then we did the first 3 of the Waterworks in the harbour. I'll post those in the description. All of which on Reaper 1 we've been going really well between the robustness of the Pale Master Tree and the Skeleton Knight taking some of the pain for us, and the offensive output we're managing to generate between the spell sword thing and the big attacks that we have. These 2 attacks down here, Arcane Siphon and Eldritch Strike. Now I've just noticed on there we've just got another milestone, another imbue dice for the spell sword, so that should be noticeable hopefully at this level. Every 3 levels we get one of those, it says. Right, so what changes have we made? I've not been able to make one of the changes I wanted to the gear. I thought the Raptor Tooth necklace from the Dreadsea Scrolls, which is the Isle of Dread pre-quest from in the Hut of Beyond in the harbour, I thought it was a trinket, but it's not. It's a necklace, and I can't really give up that amber pendant for the extra spell DCs. That's I suppose when you're doing a build like this, where you're not just focusing completely on melee or completely on spells, you're always going to run into this this sort of balancing situation. Do I want more spell DCs or do I want a bit more damage? Because that necklace has something called Relentless Fury on it to give more damage to the attacks. The other sort of balancing dilemma is with this build would be strength versus intelligence. Now I could have gone all out for strength and just dumped intelligence altogether, and that would have saved me 12 points in the Harper tree, but it would have been like giving up on all spells except for buffs basically. We would still have had the haste and the displacement and the death aura, that kind of thing, but any sort of crowd control casting, forget it. So I really didn't want to do that. So I think the way it's worked out, it hasn't worked out too badly. The fact that we had to invest some points in strength if we wanted the two-handed fighting from level 1, that's meant that the strength is relatively competitive against the intelligence, and we're doing decent damage. So I'm not missing too much. So it's taken the pressure off going into the Harper Agent tree to get intelligence to hit and damage. So I think probably more by luck than judgment it's worked out reasonably well. Level 6 feat I couldn't really decide what to take. There was nothing super compelling. Maybe because I am a human and I got an extra feat at the start, so maybe I've taken everything that I really needed by this time already. I took Spell Pen with a view to using the Mass Hold line, the Mass Hold spell later, which is an enchant and requires a Spell Pen check. I thought to take that because I don't think that's one of the ones on the list of wizard bonus feats that you can take, and also we don't have any either wizard or favoured soul past lives that would help our spell pen checks. So I thought maybe we could Maybe we could try that in the absence of anything else that really stood out. So the only piece of gear I've changed, as I mentioned I was going to, the armour from the Fey. So we've got exceptional spell law, which is going to help not our imbues, but certainly will help our negative healing ticking thing to crit more. I would actually like an item to boost negative crit chance. In fact, I could consider. We'll probably be all right until if we get to level 10, we can have the belt there. What's it called? Is it the silver thread belt that has both positive and negative spell power and crit? That might be a good one, and it's part of the Ravenloft caster set. Although it's debatable whether we want the caster set or some kind of melee set. We'll have to debate. I think we're going to be having that all the way through this life. It's going to be an ongoing theme. Do we go more towards the casting or more towards the melee side of it? I think the answer's probably going to be more towards the melee, because that's kind of what we are. It's melee supported by spells, isn't it? So yeah, I think although we would lose our acid power option, so we'd be stuck with just fire, I could have done a ring of with negative crit chance on there, perhaps. Anyway, it's done now. So yes, the armor pretty decent, and it sent our PRR and MRR up higher, while not earth-shattering. They're looking pretty good from where we were a couple of levels ago. We were in the teens somewhere on both, so I'm pretty happy with that. And the results are beginning to show in the times where we're getting surrounded. It's not hurting us nearly so much. I replaced the trinket, the crocodile tooth trinket, because I noticed that unfortunately that crippling effect, I was wondering why it was never going off. It's only for ranged weapons, so it was useless. Now this one at least will give a heroism always on, so we'll always have a +2 morale bonus on attack rolls, saving throws and skill checks without me having to click on this potion of heroism, without me having to remember that. And yes, that really is the best I can do in the trinket slot. I could have crafted something again. I could have put the negative spell power and crit in there, but I think we'll be okay. Spells. Where's the main screen? Right, okay, so I've swapped out. I might as well do the enhancements first, and then the spells will be better understood. So as I mentioned, we've gone for the third core in the Eldritch Knight, which comes with a -15% arcane spell failure, and allows us then to wear the light armor I've just shown you without that 10% arcane spell failure that would have come with. To get up to 10 points, I've added 15 extra hit points, which is never a bad thing, plus the shield, the improved shield spell-like ability, which we've got on the bar. I thought about going as we've done in the past in this action boost thing, but there are already so many to remember on short-term cooldowns. There's Death Aura, Displacement, Haste, Reaper's Strike and Rage, so I just didn't want an extra thing to click to remember as well. So I've left that to one side, gone for more hit points and the shield SLA. That shield SLA has meant that we can cross the shield spell off here and add Feather Fall for when we should need it. other things we've added back the knock spell, which I'd taken away to make room for lesser death order, and we've added on level 3 rage. I probably wouldn't be bothering with rage were it not for the fact we're still using strength for hit and damage, so that's another point on hit and damage, so well worth having, I think, at the moment. So you can see we've had to cut back on the investment in this tree. My plan is to leave the Eldritch Knight alone for the time being and build back up in this Pale Master tree to kind of where we were before. I think we're going to miss the negative healing amp that we had before in there. That's my priority, to build that back up as soon as we can. The Skeleton Knight is strong enough as is, so God knows how strong it's going to be if we get 9 extra hit and damage and extra armor class and extra PRR. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It hasn't come close to dying yet with the ticking death order thing, so that side of the plan seems to be working rather nicely. Spells, enhancements we did, PRR and MRR is done. Yeah, I think I've covered just about everything there. So let's try and show you the quest inside here. There's one quest, as you probably all know. Well, let's get the sound back on. One quest that you take inside the Wynwood Hall, that's this one here, the Wake Me Up Inside, which I think is the one where this armour comes from, this caster's armour that he's wearing, the leaf mail. It's a very nice piece. Oh, well, I've mentioned it in past lives, but for those of you who haven't seen those, the stats on this, the exceptional universal spell law and spell power, are exactly the same as you would find on level 15 Shan gear. So this is powerful stuff for level 5. Also, that 3% exceptional bonus to spell law, it's the same as you'd find in tier 5 of some trees. The Warlock tree, for instance, is it the Soul Eater tree, has that as one of the tier 5 enhancement options. So that's how strong that one is. Very nice item to have if you can find it. Right. Get the skeleton up. Blur him. So we don't need to bother with heroism. A little bit more spell power.
You awake from your unexpected slumber. At first, things seem as before.
Now,
you're still at Wynwood Hall.
rage.
Melody is still standing beside the bed.
Get the healing ticking thing going. Displacement. Haste. And the double strike Reaper bonus. Let's get some webbage down there. Okay. I'm rushing into the next one so we don't lose all the buffs. I'm going to throw another web down.
She cackles as she teleports away.
Hopefully they'll all come round just in time for the big AoE attack. Nice, nice, nice. Okay.
You approach a shadowy form that appears to be Lord Arden, reading a note with a worried expression on his face. The figure doesn't notice your presence.
I think we'll better redo the buffs before we go into this contact. At least the short-term ones. Death Aura,
Movement underneath the bridge.
displacement,
You see a
haste,
nasty-looking troll guarding the missing loot.
web.
Bits of troll and corpses
Well, that's hurting us.
into the river as the battle progresses.
We've got the Carnage Reaper though with the
Bridge trolls that join the
colour spray. Yeah, acid's doing nicely. Can you see the purple numbers? The acid's really hurting the trolls, the acid imbue. But they were hurting us quite badly as well. Hopefully, once we're out of combat, that ticking heal is going to start ticking for more than just one at a time. Yeah, there we go. I should probably wait for that to come up. Look at the skeleton knight. He doesn't have our hit points, but he doesn't seem to take nearly the damage that we do either. Can we take these while still with the buffs on? Let's try. Let's be brave. Okay, good stuff. We're going to have to rebuff for these bears. These are savage.
Inside the magically sealed gazebo ahead floats the frosted surface.
Let's see if we can get them with the web. I think it worked reasonably well. Yeah, okay.
You've recovered the frosted cerise
Nice.
crystal. You've recovered
Right, we'll tell the skeleton to stay there so he doesn't run after anything he shouldn't. We're going to try invisible here
of magical energy
and get
streaming from a
sprinting between these lines of enemies towards that that entry point you can see up at the top there. Aside from the fact it's a little bit quicker and less hassle, if I'd have tried to engage all that stuff, I would certainly have run out of mana. So the mechanic here, we need to kill the two sort of guardians, as it were, before we can kill the one in the middle. So the scholar and the shadow have to die first. And then this sandman can die. Right, okay. And we'll have the skeleton back.
moments, he says.
Now here it's just a question of staying out of the circles, which for a melee isn't always straightforward. I don't think we need any
You exit the point,
defensive
find yourself
buffs,
in a strange, empty world. Yet that
because she's not going to attack us
is ahead.
physically, is she?
You and Lord Arden stands Cadence the Hag. She must have been disguised as Melody the Apothecary the entire time.
Nice one.
Cadence prepares for battle.
So I think you can probably see from that, although I'm still fairly heavy on mana, the tide is kind of turning, even though our healing is not really on point, shall we say. That's lesser Death Aura. We would really like the souped up version. I think that'll be coming relatively soon. And on that note, thanks to you guys keeping reminding me to check auction houses and that kind of thing for the scrolls. I did find a scroll of Death Aura on the auction house, which I've taken. So when we level up, we'll be able to take something different.
You've reluctantly decided to allow Cadence to live.
I think I might take either or both of DDO and Negative Energy Burst when we can level up to the level 4 spells, because neither of those are on the standard scroll list either.
Last, burn the roots along with Lord Arden's true name. You play a brief melody on Hirsum's lute. You mash the flower's roots into a pulp with little effort. You set a small blaze, then drop the crushed roots and Lord Arden's
Yeah, more than satisfied with how that's going. With the between the crowd control and the skeleton, it's mitigating the amount of incoming damage. It's also keeping stuff in place for us to be able to use our big sweeping Eldritch strike, and we seem to be ticking along quite nicely with the output damage too. So after a decidedly, let's take a collapse portable hole, after a decidedly shaky couple of levels in the middle, we seem to have come out the other end, and I think we're beginning to rock and roll now with this build. My plan is to, as I mentioned, to build back up in here. Let's get the healing amp sorted, because I did notice we were sort of down halfway down the bar at one point when we were in the middle of all those trolls. Healing amp, and then we can get 15 PRR there, which is going to be great. Plus it's going to boost up the skeleton knight quite a bit, and the more damage he does, the more attention he's going to take away from us, so that's good too. I haven't figured out what to take in the third core of this tree yet. There's some that one there is very compelling, but I would think that will be for further down, quite a bit further down, because that would be one for mass hold, spell pen and enchantment DC. That's perfect. So we'll definitely be taking that at some stage, but probably not as the first one. Necro, are we doing anything with Necro? I don't think we are. So not that. Neg spell power, bit lukewarm that one. 15 MRR isn't terrible, and 2 on it. Yeah, that's a very good defensive one. 2 on saves and 15 MRR, not to be sniffed at. And that's a very good one too. 25 hit points, 5 PRR. This mischance, well, we're not in Wraith form anyway, and I have a suspicion that the even Reaper 1 knocks 10% off, so I'd be worried that we'd end up with nothing if we chose that and we ran Reaper 1, which we seem to be doing okay on at the moment. So I'm a bit dubious of those. Totally not that, we'll not be assassinating. That's a possibility. 2 to 9 neg damage, scaling with spell power, and it says there Vorpal like 20 melee hits, give an energy drain, but I think the wiki tells us it's actually critical hits. So our Falchion crits quite often, so that might be an option, depending on whether we want to go for attack or defense. No, not really. No. Ghost Touch we're really not bothered about, because although it doesn't mention it, we have Ghost Touch from this second core here. It mentions it in the wiki, but not here. So the enchantment thing definitely later, and then we have a choice, I think, between attack and defense, haven't we? Extra negative damage on attack, plus chance of a level drain if we crit, or we've got extra defense, saving throws, MRR, or hit points and PRR. I think those are the... So if you want to give me an opinion which one we should take, we've got magical resistance and saving throws, we've got hit points and PRR, or we've got the offensive one, the inflicting extra negative damage and an energy drain on crit. It's definitely going to be one of those three when we have enough points to take that core, which actually will be the next point that we spend. So give me your opinions and we'll see where we go with it. Right, I think that'll about do it for this one. It's ticking along nicely after a bit of a wobble, so I have high hopes for this one's future. Thank you very much as always for looking, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.